Well, one of the most diverse drivers to come out of the Golden State in 2023, Jake Andreotti, running wing and non-wing sprint cars, as well as midgets, and he was full-time with the USAC-National Midget Series this season. He's here to talk about it and more. That's coming up next on the Dave's Home Supply Getting Up to Speed podcast after these messages. Dave's Home Supply specializes in cabinets, flooring, and countertops. Visit their website at daveshomesupply.com to look at products, services, financing, and even a free estimate. Are you looking for bookkeeping, payroll, or income tax services? Then check out the folks at For You Simple Bookkeeping. They are a licensed tax preparer throughout the entire United States. For more information, click on the link in the description. Well, joining us on the Dave's Home Supply Getting Up to Speed podcast, it is Jake Andreotti representing Castro Valley, California, the East Bay area of the Golden State. Well, I guess, what would you call it? The eastern shore of San Francisco Bay more than the East Bay?
Yeah, something like that. One of the few out of the Bay Area.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you say East Bay and people might think Oakland or Antioch, and that can be fighting words. So I guess I got to be careful. So. But Jake, really busy year for you guys. 49 feature starts throughout really the whole entire country. You managed to post 18 top 10s, 13 top 5s, 10 podiums, and capture 4 main event victories.
Yeah, no, it was a good year for how minimal we ran the wing sprint car out here in Cali. Got a handful of seconds, unfortunately, all at Placerville, Watsonville. But running this much this year, it was definitely fun to be back east in Indy, running all the national tracks back there and flying back and forth, running the wing car when I can. I love the diversity of running all the cars. I don't like being stuck to one type of car. Not saying I'll get worn out, but just running a bunch of different cars feels, you can learn racecraft and driving a lawnmower in the backyard type of thing. So the more cars I'm in, the better I feel. And just racing all over this year, it was pretty good, and got to bring stuff back here, different track conditions and everything. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. Got my first non-wing sprint car win out of the way too. That was pretty cool to now say I won a non-wing. Now I just got to get the wing car in there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, getting a win June 17th, Ventura Raceway with the USAC West Coast Series. A couple of USAC Western States feature wins, the George Snyder Classic at the dirt track at Kern County Raceway Park in Bakersfield on October 7th, and then same place, won there on April 29th. And speaking of Antioch Speedway, you won there with the BCRA Midgets on April 8th. Yeah,
no, Antioch's a really cool track. It was pretty cool to see, SECT and NARC go there this year. That has a lot of potential for the years to come for sure. But yeah, the midget stuff out here with the hothead 00 Pete Davis, that thing, it rolls really nice. And I always love driving that thing out here. It's fun racing midgets. They're definitely up there with the enjoyment as a wing car.
Well, it's great that you say you don't like to stick to one discipline. You fan out and you're diverse. And I was watching the open wheel showdown in Las Vegas, and I think it was Buddy Rice that was saying, you get these drivers here that they've got road course, drivers that were there with road course experience, dirt experience, and pavement experience all in one. And the more diverse your catalog is as far as driving experience go, the better you are, because it can make you adapt quicker to certain situations because you've been in a different discipline that has taught you to do something like react different or drive differently.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Cody Swanson, he won the midget portion of that, and he's really good on the whole dirt Silver Crown, pavement Silver Crown. He, being diverse with all that, you learn so much in every form of car that you'll ever be in. You might not think of it at the time, but it's just more. You're just learning every time you're on the track. Doesn't matter what it's in. So it's all seat time that comes down to racing. And the more seat time in anything, the better you're going to be as a driver.
Well, and I mean, that race, the midget race, was sensational. Swanson was he was trailing Bertrand with like 2 to go still, and then he was able to run him down. And just the emotion of him in victory lane, oh my gosh, it was like, oh, stop talking, you're getting me emotional.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a cool race.
Yeah, yeah. Well, going back to you, you said running in the Midwest, visiting places like the Belleville High Banks, even though you guys, the midgets don't run the full half mile there, but still to be at a place like that, and Angel Park Speedway in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, iconic locations which are known and have had so much history with dirt midget racing.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. That was such a great opportunity to go back there and see all these awesome historic tracks. And yeah, honestly, I wanted to run on the Belleville High Bank. Some people call me crazy for that, but I like the bigger, faster tracks. Like, for sure, hands down, Lawrenceburg is my favorite track. Hands down, that place, you are going so fast. Looking at the corners going down the straightaway, it feels like it takes a year to get there. But yeah, no, going that fast, you have to really be one with the car. You feel everything in it, and you have some time to relax, not really, but you have some time to look ahead and really plan out what you're going to do. But yeah, running that place wide open around the fence, yeah, that was a thriller for sure.
How did the whole deal come about for you to be able to compete so much with the USAC-National Series this year?
I ran Chili Bowl for Tom Malloy, and yeah, just wanted to run the whole USAC tour, so went and did that. And yeah, it was an awesome opportunity. There's so many tracks that I grew up watching on Flow, wanting to go to, and now to say I've ran at pretty much all of them, it's honestly really cool. And just hoping I could get back there and do it again. The midget stuff, it's fun, and it's the top tier running with all those guys out there. So yeah, I definitely want to. I have my eyes on a national win. I know I could do it. Just gotta have the right chemistry and everything going for us to go out there and get it. Yeah, we were looking pretty good at Merced on the West Coast swing, and man, that's hands down my second favorite track. Merced is so cool in the midgets. But yeah, no, I know we could do it. Just gotta get back there and knock one of those off. And running all those different track conditions, being back there, I've noticed it in myself. It just made me such a better driver, more aware of things. So I know it's coming.
Yeah, no, Merced definitely took the cake, I think, for the West Coast swing when it came to racing action. Not necessarily, it wasn't really for the win of the race, but it was like second back to 20-something, where it was just insane, like wild but good, hard, clean racing.
Yeah, that track, man, it's so cool. All the way from hot laps. I just love being on the track. It's never on the bottom at all. You only touch it when you're throwing a slider from a mile away.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, that place is fast.
I've seen wing sprint cars there once. They had that last minute race like September 30th, September 29th, because Hanford canceled, but they did have the BCRA light midgets there. But those were enjoyable to watch too, and that kind of gave me sort of a primer for what I was able to watch on Flow later on, just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, no, Merced's such a cool track for everything. I would love to see non-wing sprint cars go there, but yeah, that Merced in Placerville, I will forever say that is the most fun to qualify a sprint car. Mm-hmm. You're just wide open, pinned around the top. It's pretty cool, but yeah, that place, it races great. Big sliders, and you can clear them from just about anywhere on the track. It's really easy to turn down with all the banking there. It's a fun one.
So you discussed Lawrenceburg, obviously Merced, some of your top tracks that you were able to participate with the USAC-National Midget Series. What would you say were, let's not just say a struggle bus track, but just a challenging track for you?
There's definitely a few. I would say the most, not one in particular, but the more flat tracks that were back there, I feel like those were, I had to learn a lot when it came to those with the, tracks with different type of dirt than we have here in Cali and just really flat. I think one in, Kansas, that was a really flat one. And then where the Leffler was at, just really flat track.
Indianapolis dirt track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, that one was really cool. Just throwing it in there kind of felt like Ventura almost. If Ventura was smooth all the time, but no, just the more flatter tracks, it was, a little different to learn how to make more grip in the car and what to do behind the wheel. Just because, out here we have Merced, Kern, Placerville for all that midget stuff, and all those have a good amount of banking. You drive it pretty straight compared to all these flat ones where you don't need to make as much grip on the car and ask the car to do different things. So, running back there on all those I definitely learned pretty quick because all those guys, they aren't no slouches for sure. But definitely did a lot of learning and figuring out all these different track conditions for sure.
I got to correct myself. BC 39, that's at the dirt track at IMS. Wayne County Speedway. So
yeah,
so I got to fact check myself. Well, and you say flatter because we're used to the high banks here where you just like roll on the top and let the momentum go, whereas on a flatter track you gotta kind of, I don't know, would you say drive it sort of like a pavement sort of style?
It definitely depends. I mean, looking at Turkey Night, just a couple weeks ago, that was pavement racing. But no, on the flat tracks, you gotta try to make more grip out of the car and get more grip there, and you don't have the banking to load your right rear tire, so depending on how your car's set up, you might need to throw it in harder to throw more G-forces onto the right rear, try to let that sidewall roll over more and make more grip. So it was just a different aspect of making speed in the car and trying to racing with somebody, how to try to get more grip, center off the corner to set yourself up for a slider and going into the next corner. It was just a little different. It's not as easy as just pulling down off the banking, keeping your momentum. It was a lot more trail braking, a lot more really being mindful of keeping the car straight and trying to keep the wheels underneath you a little bit more rather than just driving down off the bank and just flooring it. But no, it was cool to learn all that and see how different, really tracks are outside of Cali. I mean, I've only ran here, and with the wing car running on flatter tracks, the wing, it does so much downforce. You're going to make grip in a wing car no matter where you're at. To some extent, obviously, but with midgets and non-wing sprints, they don't load like a wing. So you have to be a lot more mindful on keeping the car underneath you and making that grip and keeping the grip once you have a little bit of it.
Well, I'm probably also just focusing on what you're doing, right? Not freak out if somebody gets, if you hear them from behind you or they overtake you and then you get all erratic and go all over the place.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I've always said, racing is just a high-speed chess game. Once you get flustered a little bit, if you lose your cool and, you think you're doing good at one point and someone passed you and then you start flustering out like, what am I doing wrong? You just got to keep your cool on. And, like when Logan passed me at Merced, that was just keep your head on straight and watch him and, watch the car in front of you a little bit and try to see where you can get better. Don't race defensively, but still got to be aware of what you're doing and, really look out and be mindful of your moves and where your car placement is. Your throttle control is, probably the biggest point there. You could change the whole entire setup of a car just with your right foot.
And also, it is so hard to lead a race sometimes, especially when there's a whole bunch of guys that are figuring some stuff out behind you. You're given a map with no destination and no roads what you need to take to get there.
Yeah, no, I like that reference there. But you're just a sitting duck out there. But I think we led about 8 laps at Merced, and once the track slickened off a little bit, we may have been a little too free because I was trying to watch Logan's car. He was able to drive it off the corner straighter and make more straightaway speed. So that's where, as me and the driver, I'm trying to watch my entry to see what he's doing there. Maybe drive it a little softer on entry to get better on exit because the whole corner starts at the entry. So you have to really be mindful of everything around there and not get flustered and just hold your foot wide open, bounce it off the chip, and lose your cool, blow it over the edge. So you have to. It's definitely a chess game for sure.
Well, and also got to see you in a cameo appearance at King's for I think it was the Spanky Matthews Memorial in the later part of April. Actually, the week before you won at KCRP. And what was it? The Massey Motorsports 8M with USAC CRA, and you were actually running a 360 cubic engine against 410s, if my memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, no, I ran for Jason May in his non-wing.
Yes, the May. Sorry.
Yeah, May. I ran that I think 4 times this year. And man, he's such an awesome guy. Great team to work with. He's been really supportive, and he believes in me in the non-wing stuff. And it was cool to get him that first win for me in a non-wing to get it with him. And yeah, I should have had another one at Ventura. Brody Fusion. He got me on the last lap coming off of 2. Yeah, that was it's never a fun game pass on the last lap, but yeah, Jason, he gives me a great car in that thing. It's, just jump in it, and I know I'm going to have a good setup and just, work on the driving aspect of that. And yeah, the non-wing's so cool. I love it. Just throwing it into the corner, left front bent up, and yeah, it's on the verge of death.
Sure. Well, for some fans that may not have heard of you or know really kind of your story, I guess just give us a background. I had heard of you prior to sprint car racing, pretty heavily involved in the micro sprint scene. That's what I remember you from. Yeah,
no, I started racing at 4.5 years old. My dad, he took me out to our local quarter midget track, Tri-Valley Quarter Midgets here in Livermore, when I was probably 3.5 to 4, and just watch the quarter midget go around. Yeah, do you want to do this? Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, I don't know any better. I'm 4 years old. So a couple weeks later or something, he surprised me walking out to the garage. There's a quarter midget there, and from that point, just started racing quarter midgets. Actually, won my first ever junior novice race in quarter midgets. So that was cool, and ran that quarter midgets all through all the different classes. Won a bunch of national grands races all over the country. Ran in Indy, Canada, actually, and Oregon, Washington, Vegas, bunch of stuff. Then at 11 years old, I got into my first micro sprint, ran restricted, and won the King of California in the restricted class and the Plaza Park Championship and Rookie of the Year in that all. And then next year, the year after that, I was 12. You have to be 13 to get into supers, but we got some permission so I could be in there earlier. And my dad asked me, "Do you want to go run supers?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I want to win every race at restricted." But my dad, being the dad he is and always pushing me to do better, he's like, "No, that's too easy. That's not a challenge enough." So yeah, I got jumped into the super class, and first race out, we led 24 out of 30 laps at Delta, and this was a really cool race for me. It was Brian Clausen was racing that race. Shane Stewart. There's a few outlaw guys. I know those were just the two that I know of because they were at the Stockton Big Track there. Mm-hmm. So I got to say I ended up running second, but to say I'd beaten Brian Clausen, someone like that's pretty damn cool to me. So yeah, then that year ran King of California and won King of California and Lemoore Track Championship as a Rookie of the Year too in the micro stuff. And from that point we went on and we won a bunch of races. Won the High Banks Hustle Prelim, won Clay Cup Nationals for 10,000. That was a cool one, and got to race all over Australia too with a great buddy over there, and running all that micro stuff. It was cool. It opened I feel like micros kind of feel closer to a midget than to a sprint car. So then it was cool running all that. Then gotten my first midget with Pete Davis at Antioch. It was an old Stealth, a wide body chassis, and it was definitely outdated for the time. He hasn't raced. He hasn't ran it up hardly at all before all this. And we went out there. He's like, "Sure, come on and test out." We bought an engine heater from him, and my dad called him one day to pay him for it. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going out to Antioch to run a midget." And I was like, "Yeah, Jake always wanted to run one." So, him being the great guy he is, come on out. And we went out there and tested it. And yeah, from that day forward, he didn't even want to race it anymore. And he said, "You're going to drive it." so that was cool. I thank him for all this. He's the starting point of all this midget stuff. It's all came from him. And got running, and he upgraded all of his midget stuff to the new S-Linger BB7 and a new spike, and just upgraded everything because he believes in me so much. And running with him, I wouldn't rather run with anyone else almost. I mean, he's such a great guy. He believes in me like no other, and yeah, he's definitely family at this point. And yeah, it's been a cool journey.
Well, what was that experience like getting in a midget for a first time? Was it mind-boggling experience for you, or like you said, running a micro is so similar to a midget? Did it kind of feel like home versus versus being in a wing sprint car or in a sprint car in general?
Yeah, honestly, the midget felt right at home because I've already ran the sprint car at this point for about a year, so I already got comfortable to the seating position of sitting like in a bar stool racing a sprint car. It's not like a micro with your feet all the way down at the nose. But yeah, I jumped in and it was just a practice session and did really good. And that's where he said, "Yeah, you're racing next weekend." So the next weekend was also a race at Antioch, and we went 8th to 3rd. There was no hot laps, no qualifying, just right into a heat race. So we went 8th to 3rd in the heat race and ended up being high points and started 8th in the feature. And I think we ran 4th or something. So it was pretty cool. I mean, obviously I wanted to go out there and win the first race. So I was pretty pissed, but he was, Pete and my dad were pretty damn happy with how I did for the first time in a midget. And yeah, I felt right at home as a micro, just, wide open, sling it on in there and just absolutely rip. You don't have a wing pushing you down and doing a whole lot with the car. So it's, running the micros as long as I did, it felt right at home. And yeah, from that point, I absolutely loved the midgets.
And then for sprint car, getting into a wing sprint car for the first time, then that must have been a bit of a challenge. You mentioned, the seating position, that was an adjustment. And was it the size of the car and the speed that it took a little bit of time to kind of get comfortable with?
Yeah, the first time I got into a sprint car, it was for Keith Day Trucking, the 22. They're awesome people. They're also family to us. And yeah, I went to a race that I think Shane was still running it, and I was just hot lapping it during a local Watsonville race. And I have never been more terrified in a race car in my life just to start it.
Yeah.
Starting a sprint car for some odd reason, I was so terrified to start it, but it's easier to start than a micro. Micros, you have all these switches and stuff. Sprint car, just throw it in gear, turn on the fuel, get pushed, hit the switch, and it starts. But yeah, the sprint car, getting comfortable to that seating position. I mean, it was weird at the time, but looking at it now, that's the most comfortable way to sit, honestly, in a race car, as weird as it looks. But yeah, getting comfortable on that was a little different because my driving style and the micro stuff, and it was not your average sprint car driving style. A sprint car with the wing, you really want to be mindful of keeping the car straight and keeping the air on the wing and loading the car down. And the way I tend to drove in the micro stuff was more kind of fling it in, like, flick the car into the corner. And I learned pretty quick you can't really do that in a sprint car. It throws all the aero off with the wing. It pulls too much air onto the left sideboard and drops the left side of the car, and it just screws up the whole feel of the car, the whole balance of it. So I had to learn pretty quick how to drive it straight and out of my normal. And I think that's why I was better in the midgets right off the rip, because you drove it like that, just fling it on in there. Same goes with the non-wing sprint car. You could really throw it in there and kind of manhandle the car. And a sprint car, you don't got to baby it, but you got to be very mindful on keeping it straight and be very nice on the wheel.
For sure. Well, for people that have never been to Castro Valley, California, I mean, like I said, east, but it's like north of San Jose, kind of by Fremont, and I think you take was that the 580 goes out Altamont Pass, comes out Livermore area. What are some cool things to do in that neck of the woods if you're in charge, you're the tourist minister for the city of Castro Valley?
Oh no, I would honestly be the worst tourist person ever. I memean, all I really do is just trying to work on the sprint car. We keep it here at our house and stuff, and yeah, we have our family business, in the Bay Area too, and so I help out with that and running deliveries and stuff when I can. But yeah, honestly, I don't know how much there really is to do in the Bay Area. I mean, you got your local indoor go-karting. You go play golf or go to the bay or something, but I'm not a big tourist person.
Sure,
I just kind of, I don't like going out all that much, maybe with a few friends here and there, and go play some golf or something. But
horse racing in Albany, right next to the bay, or at least they used to have it.
Yeah, I think they have Golden Gate Field somewhere around here. I've never been there, but yeah, my family, we are, we like hot rods and stuff. So, we'll go out to car shows. That's probably when we can. We love doing that. My grandpa and my dad and both grandparents and my uncle and everything. we're all a big hot rod family, so we'll go out to the Pleasanton Fairgrounds and go to Good Guys, try to get out to as many shows as we can, and just have a nice relaxing weekend looking at all the cars from from that point of just relaxing. We don't get too many relaxing weekends.
Oh, I feel you there. And as far as your family, is that kind of where the racing bug got? You're a multi-generation driver, or are you the trailblazer for the Andreotti family?
Yeah, I'm the first, the one and only, actually, as of right now. But yeah, my dad, all he did, he bracket raced his 1965 Ford Falcon out at Sears Point here and there. But
okay,
yeah, I'm the first actual racer in the family. But yeah, all the support from my whole family, both of my sisters, my cousins, uncles, both grandparents, both sides, and we've turned into one big racing family from just starting out as just a bunch of people liking hot rods.
So was it just something that you saw that attracted you, like at a car show, or watched some stuff on TV or the internet that got you an interest to race, or was it something your dad kind of come across?
Yeah, it was definitely something my dad came across. I mean, I was 4 years old at the time. Do you want to do this? Yeah, sure, why not? Like, I don't really know much better. I tried T-ball, I couldn't do that. Too much sitting around, and that's what both of my parents said. Like, my mom hated it, just sitting down and waiting. I tried basketball, tried some football, but no, racing, just the thrill of that for everyone, in the stands and everything. Everyone, it's so much. I mean, personal preference, of course, but it's so much cooler to watch cars racing, getting inches away from people at 100 miles an hour rather than throwing a ball down the
field. Yeah. No, I can agree with that. And yeah, I was just trying to think, Castro Valley, there's been some other racers that come out of there. The Williams family, Emily went through the micro deal and used to come up here in the Pacific Northwest. And I think her dad ran quite a bit. And I think it was decent when it was USAC Western, like the non-wing 410 series they had out here.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think she went to my high school. Actually, she was a bit older than me at the time. But yeah, there was a couple out of here, but yeah, not too much for sure. Most of the racers come out of the Central Valley, it seems like.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, 2024, are things kind of up in the air, just kind of waiting for more schedules to come out, or do you have a general idea of what you would like to do for next year?
The general, nothing's set in stone at all yet. Just floating around ideas of things. But yeah, I mean, I would love to go back east and run, the midget tour again and do that. If that doesn't work out, then, I'm more than happy to, run 70 races a year in a sprint car here in Cali. So it's really 50-50. You can race so much here in California with non-wings, midgets, and the wing sprints between everything. So, but yeah, it's all up in the air. But running the Tulsa Shootout for Chase Briscoe in a few weeks, running for him in all four classes. Yeah, and the A wing, A non-wing, outlaw wing, and outlaw non-wing, running all that, and then a week later we go to the Chili Bowl, and I'm going to be running for Derek the house spike car. So that's going to be really cool to getting the house spike car and you run that. That's going to be a cool opportunity for me too. And going to go out there and rip as hard as I can and see what I can make happen for next year.
Well, that's really cool opportunities that are on deck for you. How did the Chase Briscoe thing come into play?
Yeah, that was actually really cool. He called me to run his midget at Millbridge. So went to Millbridge and ran that. And when he was actually there running his micro. And at the time, I think he had a sprained or broken finger. So he qualified the first night in the micro, and after that, he didn't really want to run anymore. So he came up to me, I'm already running the midget. He said, "Hey, do you want to just jump in the micro and run it?" Yeah, I was like, "Really?" And yeah, so I jumped in that, and ran the A main that night, but I had to start in the back because of he already qualified and everything. So the next night, if you want to run it again, I'm not gonna run it. So just pull it out of the trailer and go race it. So me and my dad and Kevin Briscoe, Chase's dad, got the car out and, got in there, probably, put like 6 inches of padding underneath me and just threw in so much foam all around the seat and everything to get me in there, and worked on some setup stuff, and we ended up winning the first night out. So we won at Millbridge in a micro, which was cool. And after that, he's like, "Yeah, shoot, yeah, do you want to? Yeah, let's go run the shootout." So,
wow.
So yeah, now I'm gonna be running that for him, which is an awesome deal. Chase is such a great guy. And, yeah, running his stuff, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. That's one of the few last holy grails of the micro races that I need to get a win at.
Most definitely.
So we're gonna be going for it.
Well, we are talking about flat tracks, and I think he ran on one of the flattest tracks that I'd seen in some time, and he won at it in New Hampshire. They have a dirt track that they kind of put together. I think it's called the Flat Track at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and he raced against the Scone Series, the Sprint Cars of New England, and holy smokes, it reminded me of when the World of Outlaws went to Topeka, Kansas at Heartland Motorsports Park, of like basically on a drag strip, kind of like, stomp, steer left, stomp again. So it was a unique racetrack, that's for sure.
Yeah, I watched some of that. Honestly, it looked like it was off-cambered.
Yeah. Well, super cool. Oh, I did have one question, though. 7P for your family car. You run that. What was the inspiration between that number and letter combination?
So that number, that came from actually my mom's dad, my grandpa. And, the 7Ps, it's used in the military side of things, is in our case, it stands for proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. It's the 7Ps.
Oh, okay.
So we take that with us everywhere. Like, you got to have your 7Ps in racing. Got to have, it's cool to have a meaningful number that I carried all the way from when I first started in quarter midgets. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance.
It's a great mental checklist.
Yeah, so he came up with that, and it was pretty cool because my dad's dad, my other grandpa, he was in the Coast Guard, and I have a bunch of family members that that were that went and supported the country. So it was cool to have something like that on the car and actually have a meaningful number. And
it kind of covers all the bases too.
Oh, totally. That's the whole thing of racing. A race car is never ready. It's just time to race.
Yes.
So you can only get it as close as you can, as long as you can. So,
yes. Yeah. A race car can be like a toddler sometimes. You can just leave it there and you hope it stays, but you got to get it ready.
You know more about that than me.
Oh, man. Yeah. The door hasn't opened yet. So dinosaur train is still effective right now. So, But it's been great getting to know you and through the years, and also getting to know a lot about you in this interview. For folks that want to follow along your results, or when you decide to publish a schedule, or if you leak things like bit by bit, or if they want to purchase any sort of apparel, is there like a good website, or do you have social media accounts that you run that people can follow along?
Yeah, Jake Andreotti Racing on Facebook. That's where we post the majority of our stuff, and then my Instagram, Jake Andreotti. But you're the first person I told that I'm running for Spike Chassis at Chili Bowl, so there's a little leak for that. But
there we go. Yeah, and we're not at PRI, so
yeah, it sucks I'm not going to be there. That's a cool event too. But yeah, that's my social media stuff. Follow along on there. We're gonna be posting probably the Chili Bowl announcement here pretty soon and stuff. But it's going to be a cool remainder of the year and start of next year for sure.
And then as far as apparel concerned, are you in the works with an apparel run, or can folks get some stuff to support you and your race team now?
Yeah, we don't have anything just yet, but we are looking. We are probably going to get some for next year for sure. So that'll also be posted on our on the Facebook, Jake Andreotti Racing, when we do get that in. Got to get some designs done, and got to get some shirts and hats.
Yes. Well, it's been wonderful once again, and an absolute pleasure. And I hope the Tulsa Shootout with Chase Briscoe goes very well, as well as the Chili Bowl. And we'll definitely be staying in touch and try and have you back on the program so we can kind of get a little bit of a progress report since we last talked.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me. It's cool talking to you.
This episode is a production of Highside Racing Promotions. Be sure to like the YouTube as well as Facebook page and like these videos. The more likes and the more attention it gets, and we would like to get as much information out to the racing community. Whenever or wherever you're watching these episodes, we hope that you enjoyed them